He was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered. They're coming after me.
I'm just going to jump in here and tell you that's a lie. What we know happens thereafter is Charlie concludes this call with Josh and the rabbi, and then he sends off text messages to his security chief, Dan Flood, also to Andrew Colvett, and he says to them that they are going to kill me.
And then you have the Times Events reel able to say this. That's the narrative. It was written. This is the perfect screenplay for them.
Safer and dramatic. Charlie Kirk's mother is reportedly speaking out amid growing controversy surrounding Erika's public statements about Charlie's final days. Critics claim there are inconsistencies in Erika's narrative, particularly regarding whether Charlie feared for his safety. Now, new information has surfaced about a dinner organized the night before Charlie's trip, a gathering that allegedly included a Zoom call with a religious leader overseas. Some commentators believe this detail raises further questions about what was really happening behind the scenes. So, what actually happened that night? And how is Charlie's mother responding to the shifting narrative?
Many people know that Charlie sensed that he was going to die tomorrow is an absolute fact. Why these individuals are all being quiet about that is a massive question mark.
5 months after Charlie Kirk's tragic death, much of the media attention has focused on his widow, Erika. She has appeared in multiple interviews and public events, while Charlie's parents have largely remained out of the spotlight. According to individuals described as close to the Kirk family, Charlie's parents have chosen to grieve privately. However, sources claim they are troubled by what they see as inconsistencies in the public retelling of Charlie's final days. There are also reports suggesting Charlie's mother may consider speaking publicly to share her perspective. Supporters argue that conflicting accounts about security concerns and alleged threats have created confusion about what Charlie was truly experiencing in the weeks leading up to September 10th.
Erika and Charlie Kirk heard about these curses, and that news genuinely rattled Erika in particular. She knew Christian teaching on the subject. She loved Charlie, absolutely. And she was scared when she heard of the curses Jezebel had called up. So much so that she and Charlie contacted a friend, who I believe she said was a Catholic priest, but definitely a friend, and asked him to come over and pray with them over Charlie the night before he was murdered. She eventually worked it through, and so did Charlie. That, as she later told me, weapons will form, but not prosper. That's Satan and those witches.
Early media reports cited Erika describing concerns about Charlie's safety before his trip. In one interview, she reportedly mentioned discussions about protective measures and heightened awareness. However, critics question whether certain media coverage, including controversial online articles, would have realistically triggered that level of concern. Commentators like Candace Owens have suggested that Charlie was accustomed to negative press and rarely treated such coverage as credible threats. This discrepancy has fueled speculation about whether fear was genuinely present or later emphasized in hindsight.
We always knew that there were people out there that hated us with deep, deep passion of hate, but it didn't scare us. Never, he was never afraid of that. Neither was I. Obviously, we protect our children. You know, we don't show their faces on the internet. If that was our last day, it was our last day. Like, we always lived as if it was the last day. That's why Charlie's speeches were so good. But again, it wasn't anything that, you would think any different.
Cute.
No.
In a later interview, Erika reportedly described the night before Charlie's event as relatively normal, a statement some observers say contradicts earlier accounts of anxiety and heightened concern. In a previous interview, she had described Charlie as restless and unable to sleep, suggesting he sensed something wasn't right. These different descriptions have led critics to ask, was Charlie deeply worried? Or was the evening routine and uneventful? The contrasting narratives continue to raise questions among supporters and skeptics alike.
Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Somebody writes, Charlie writes, Jewish donors play into all of the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause.
Additional reporting has focused on a message Charlie allegedly sent regarding his involvement in certain political or international issues. Some commentators claim this message sparked conversations among influential figures connected to him. A turning point, affiliated podcaster later clarified the timeline of that message, stating it was sent on September 9th. Following that, reports indicate Charlie participated in a Zoom call to discuss talking points related to ongoing matters.
Candace Owens seized on this totally out of context screenshot of Charlie Kirk being very upset that a Jewish donor was withholding his $2 million donation. And she used this as an attempt to say, oh, Josh Hammer's lying, that Charlie Kirk remained pro-Israel until his final moments.
Yeah.
But she's also holding aside that 2 hours after this screenshot, if you look at the timestamps, 2 hours after that, I and a few others were in a small Zoom chat, a small Zoom call with Charlie Kirk the night before he was killed that Charlie organized. Charlie organized this Zoom call for the express purpose of trying to make sure that he had all the best answers, the best messaging advice for how to speak about Jewish-Christian relations and the Israel question on college campuses.
According to commentator Candace Owens, the Zoom call allegedly included a religious leader based outside the United States. Owens has claimed the conversation became tense and that strong pressure was applied. However, these allegations have not been independently verified. Claims of bribery or threats remain accusations made by commentators and have not been confirmed by official investigations.
A crappy idea that Charlie had just gotten back from Korea and was like, oh, please help me, Josh Hammer. You're a complete idiot. Please help me learn how to speak to college students. Josh Hammer and a rabbi who lives in Israel. Like there was nobody else available. You know what time it must have been in Israel for him to organize this call? Why is he doing it with this rabbi? Was it Wojcicki, whatever his last name is? You're not going to just call like Dennis Prager, who you're apparently writing a Shabbat Shalom book with? It seems a little suspect. So you're actually clarifying for us something that's amazing. This is a stunning admission. Okay? Because we know that when Charlie got off of this phone call, he texts that evening
Some commentators suggest that Charlie may have expressed fear in private messages following that call. However, the context and authenticity of those alleged messages have not been publicly confirmed. The central question remains, why do accounts of Charlie's final days appear to differ depending on the source? With reports that Charlie's parents may eventually speak publicly, supporters on all sides say they are seeking clarity and a consistent account of what truly happened.